All right, I am joined by current AV Alta defender and former Cal men's soccer defender Alfredo Ortiz. Alfredo, tonight you had a lot of firsts. Your first professional start,
Right.
your professional debut, and then
hmm
your home debut as well. How do you sort of sum up tonight?
it was a pretty good night. I felt really comfortable on the ball. I felt like our team did great. We kept possession. We did what we had to do, but it was just unfortunate we didn't get the result we wanted.
Yeah, it was sort of almost a typical Alfredo Ortiz game in the sense that you played fullback at times, you were inverted at times, and then even toward the last sort of 10 minutes, they had you out wide. Since I've known you, you've always been very versatile. Is that
hmm
something that Coach Klebine and the club have sort of looked at as a real strength of bringing you in?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've always, thankfully, when I was at Cal, I was playing winger, 10, 8, 6, left back, right back. So, now the only thing that really helps me is, my technique, and that's why I'm comfortable playing wherever they put me. And I never complain. I always give it my best.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Cal, actually, I was looking at through some of your statistics, and it's remarkable how many 90 minutes you played. I want to say only 3 times did you play under 80 minutes. You also, again, went 90 tonight. So, what's the secret to being so consistent and so reliable and playing so many minutes in what is probably the most intense college soccer conference in the country?
Right. For me, it's just training habits. So, uh, Monday through Friday, give it everything you have, 110%, and then when game comes, like it should be easy for you. Should be easy
Right,
for
right.
you, fitness wise, mentally, technical wise. You go in and you're already comfortable.
Yeah, I want to speak a little bit about sort of that mentality side. Well, while you were at Cal, you beat the #1 team in the country twice. One of them in a derby against Stanford. And so I'm just curious, like when you go into big games,
Yeah.
is there a mentality switch or is it just sort of business as usual?
Uh, Honestly, I've always been like a really calm player.
Hmm.
So whenever I go against those teams, I'm always calm. But of course, like you have to understand who you're playing against, know your opponent a little bit, and then just give everything you have.
Yeah, one achievement that you accomplished at Cal was you were selected to the MLS Showcase. You're one of only 45 players selected to that event. And obviously, in other sports like the NFL and things like that, their combines and stuff get a lot of media attention. But to be honest with you, I feel like most people don't really know that much about that event. So if you could just kind of speak about your experience there
Yeah.
and what that was like.
It was obviously a new experience. So I've never done a combine like that. I did the San Jose one, which was 2 days, and the way that works is just you play full game one day, and you show up again the next day full game, and that's done.
Right,
The way it
right.
worked over here, it was uh, you had like these fitness things. You had like the 40-yard dash, a couple like sprints here and there. You had the vertical jump. That was morning, and after you had training.
Mhm.
Then same thing. We had the next day game, then training, then game, then training, and honestly, it was it was a new experience because every time you stepped on the field, all you saw was all
Right,
the
right,
MLS
right.
coaches,
Yeah,
and it was a lot of pressure.
of
So
course. Yeah,
honestly, it's
yeah.
just like depending on whether you can handle that, you can be calm under pressure or not.
I wonder if maybe it helped a little bit with the pressure because your head coach was at the showcase, was he not?
Yeah, he was.
How do you sort of compare Coach Griffith at Cal versus Coach Klebine here at AV Alta?
They have different like playing styles. They're both very good coaches. They know a lot. Leonard he was in the MLS, so he already has a lot of experience. Brian, he's already coached multiple teams, and the same thing. He brings a lot of experience. It's just they have different playing styles.
Right, right. It's to me something that's really interesting about playing for AV Alta is that it's only their second season, like in club history, right? This is
Right.
only the second season that they've been in existence. So I don't know. How do you sort of reflect on every time you step on the field, you're making history because this club is so new.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anytime we step out the field, like we're there to do. We get paid. It's our job to do what we have to do. But most of the guys, I mean, we just prepared. We kill ourselves on the field Monday through Friday, and usually our trainings are more intense than game.
Right.
So
Which
a
is
lot
probably
of
how it should be, right?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of guys they can last 90 minutes if not more.
Mhm. I sort of will rewind the clocks here fairly far back. You also played at 2 JUCOs,
Right,
one
right.
at ELAC and then once at Cerritos as well, where you were Defensive Player of the Year. I played with so many players over the years that have played at junior colleges, and many of them are so talented like yourself. What are some things that you still carry with you from those programs?
The work rate, 100%. ELAC was, it was all about work rate, but when I went to Cerritos, their work rate compared to even some D1 colleges is different.
Mm-hmm.
Training 4 to 5 hours a day in summer, and you're there with you have to come with the pretty hard mentality
Right.
that you when you step on the field, you're gonna give it everything, and you gotta push and push, even if it hurts. You gotta push.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say the work rate for sure.
Yeah, and then obviously that work rate paid off because your last season at Cal, you were named captain.
Right.
What did that mean to you?
I mean, it meant everything. It meant that the guys had a lot of trust in me. Like I said, I'm a very calm player on the ball, and I don't really get nervous. And the guys, seen that. And
where did that come from? You've mentioned that a couple of times about how calm you are on the ball, and I noticed it too, both when I played with you and then obviously tonight watching you. How do you do that? Where does that come from? Is it just sort of natural? You've always kind of had it, or
the main reason for me that I feel this calmness in games and I don't get nervous is because I know that over the summers I'm one of those players that I just like to work on technique.
Right.
So I know the more I work on my technique, the more reps I do, I'm 100% confident I won't lose the ball.
Yeah.
And just being calm is like it benefits you so much rather than thinking what you're gonna do or questioning yourself. So
yeah, it's something that is really clear when I watch you play. Your technical ability is, I mean, maybe the best on the field tonight. And kind of going back a little bit to like how versatile you are. I know that when you were at ELAC, you were a midfielder. Now, sort of more so as a left back. But how do you think playing in the middle has helped you in other positions?
It allows me to have more awareness of where I'm receiving the ball and where to get into spaces that can possibly be dangerous. So as a left back, obviously you see the whole field, which space to move into. I always like to go inside or wide. I'm very versatile, so it helps me a lot.
Yeah. So you've been a part of obviously Cerritos, and then you went to Cal D1. Now you're here at AV Alta. How do you compare the demands from JUCO to Division I and now to professional, maybe from like a preseason standpoint?
Right. I mean, honestly, there's not that much difference from JUCO, D1, even this professional environment. I would say the difference between professional environment and playing college is that here everyone understands that like they get they're getting obviously compensated to play, and you're competing, right? 100%. You're competing with the other guy. So if you slack off one day and the other guy that's in your position, he goes at 100, he's training better than you, that's your competition. So a lot of these guys like know that in the back of their head when they go into training, that I got to give it everything now because if I slack, then the other guy can take the spot.
Right. And then at Cal, you had a lot of success. You were an all-tournament team nod in 2024. As I mentioned earlier, you were a captain in 2025. And you also went to the ACC semifinals twice. Talk to me a little bit about those runs to the semifinals. I know you had obviously a great game against North Carolina in 2024. Beat some really big programs. Just, what were those postseason journeys like?
It was a little... Both years, actually, I would say the reason we got to the semifinals was because we ended up switching formations towards like the maybe 75% of the season.
From what formation to
so what? My junior year we were doing I think it was a 4-3-3.
Okay.
And we switched to a 3-5-2 and it worked.
Interesting.
And then we carried that on to the next season. So we started with the 3-5-2, but it wasn't working. So we switched to a 4-3-3.
Okay.
And that worked.
Sort of the reverse there.
Exactly.
So much success at Cal, both individually, collectively. What is your outlook for the rest of your first professional season? What are you hoping to achieve?
I mean, I'm hoping to obviously get a lot of minutes here, get some...
Well, you're off to a good start.
Yeah. Get a lot of minutes, try to assist, try to help my team in any way I can, and then eventually, get to the next level, whether that be championship or MLS.
Yeah, I want to touch on a little bit of what you just said there about getting assists. Your numbers at Cal were unbelievable. I think I want to say you had 14 points across 2 seasons as a fullback, which, I played fullback, and to me that was unheard of. I was happy if I completed most of my passes and made a few challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always looked at yourself as sort of a more attacking, dynamic fullback, which is obviously so important in the modern game?
Right. Yeah, I have. I've always been. I've always been like a fullback who, underlaps, overlaps. I've always tried to get assists, get my crosses off. Here it's kind of a little different. Here, we play 4-2-3, but they trust me a lot with the ball. So they try to build out to my side,
Right.
and then once we're built out, then I go up and attack. But
Yeah.
I've always been attacking minded.
Yeah, and it shows. Like I said, you've had some unbelievable just attacking numbers. I noticed one other sort of interesting details. Now on the back of your shirt, you had Alfredo, rather than Ortiz. Is there a story behind that?
No, not necessarily. So we actually have a guy on the team. His name is Christian Ortiz.
That's right. Yeah, of course.
So he was here last year. He had Ortiz, and I didn't want to take that from him. So I wanted to have my own name.
I liked it. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could have done an A period Ortiz, but I think Alfredo works as well.
I asked, but they said that they couldn't do that. So I was like, oh, let's go with Alfredo.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Alfredo, thank you so much for your time. Congrats again on a really, really fantastic debut. I'll be watching the rest of the season, and just thank you for taking the time.
All right, thank you so much for coming out, bro. Appreciate it.